Steve Cooper, Rank Success, and this is the fourth video I'm doing in relation to CVF values, or rather the fourth value, and this one is around public service. I have done some other videos, one of which is called Mapping Your Values, so you may wish to have a look at that one in conjunction with this one and the other ones, just to kind of gain a broader awareness and listen to me in my dulcet brummy tones talking about it. My aim really is to provide as much free support and guidance as I can, and sometimes this kind of reflection and thinking and sharing some food for thought to camera in this way is helpful and supportive. Thank you to all of those who have kindly sent me feedback and guidance and asked for more, which is why I'm doing more of these. If you'd like me to cover something specific, I will. So just let me know. But this one is around public service, and it's one of the four values. So the CVF values of public service, transparency, impartiality, and integrity. So I've covered the other three, and I've done that other video around mapping your values. So there's some good food for thought to work with to help you gain some traction. The other point I would say is that, you know, doing the values work can be really hard in terms of introspection and reflection to get you match fit and ready to talk about these kind of things, because you might not have all the answers for them yet, and you might not feel comfortable talking about them overtly or sharing your thoughts on them before you've kind of done some reflection. So that's what these are just about, these videos. So honesty and leadership and other values, your own values, are all overlapping, and you'll see them overlapping in the literature and the guidance on values. But the College of Policing provides some guidance in relation to the values, just to kind of get you orientated on them. It doesn't offer any other specific or targeted advice. It will simply say, the College of Policing simply say, it's down to you and your professional judgment as to what you choose to put forward as promotion evidence. So in that way, I suppose it's a level playing field. So if we come back to this value and the guidance on public service, it's easy to think about this value when you think about the model of policing is policing by consent, and so all of this guidance sits nicely underneath that. This value links to the principles of respect and selflessness from the Code of Ethics. So the Code of Ethics, again, is your first point of call. It's a foundation stone that the CVF behaviours are built upon, and you'll find many of the links in the values and the competencies go back to that. So read the Code of Ethics if you're going for a promotion selection process, and it'll help kind of raise your awareness. So the next part of it is, as individuals and as part of a wider organisation, we have a responsibility to ensure that we act in the best interests of society as a whole. Improving the safety and the well-being of the public underpins all that we do. We constantly think about how to create the best possible outcomes for those that we serve, and that might link to innovation and creativity, and we take personal responsibility for delivering these. We show resilience and determination to overcome barriers and to provide the best outcome. We're dedicated to work in the public interest, engaging and listening to their needs and concerns, and we work to make sure that the public feel valued and engaged, which helps to build confidence in the police service. We're respectful to the needs and concerns of different individuals and groups. So that's quite a general statement that sits very well with policing in consent. It almost describes how you do that, and it very much links to the role of sergeant, inspector, chief inspector, and policing supervision, management, leadership, with those as the kind of aspirations for leadership, and that also as descriptors, if you like, of the way that people will police or expected police. So that informs some of where some of your questions may come from on a promotion process. So if we switch across to the behaviours guidance that they offer, I act in the interests of the public first and foremost. So that's quite a straightforward statement or behaviour. So how do you do that? So you can start flipping some of these questions, these behaviours, into potential questions that you might face on a board, or to help develop and support your thinking. So I act in the interests of the public first and foremost. You can flip that and say, as a newly promoted sergeant or inspector or chief inspector, how are you going to act in the interests of the public first and foremost? Now you can tweak or add or embellish or tweak those questions however you want to, but you get the idea. So how will you do that, or how have you done that? So the rear-facing and forward-facing elements, so you're preparing for each of those question styles. So how have you done it? When did you do it? So what? What was the outcome of you doing it? Link it to some kind of outcome. And you can start thinking through questions using these behaviours in that way. I'm motivated by serving the public, ensuring that I provide the best service possible at all times. So what they're starting to do there is hint at some of the drivers of public confidence. I've alluded to them in other values discussions. So, the effective investigation of crime is a driver of public confidence. Alleviating antisocial behaviour in communities is a driver of public confidence. And telling the public what you do, sharing successes and good news stories is there, but linking to this one, delivering the very best service you can with the resources you've got at all times is also a driver of public confidence. So again, you can flip that and start having a discussion around those issues. There are lots of other drivers of public confidence. They're some of the key ones, and again, you can work with those to help raise your own awareness around this particular value of how you demonstrate the value of public service. I seek to understand the needs of others to act in their best interests. So that's how do you do that? Again, you might link that to the NDM, stage 1. I analyse, verify, check and assess information before I act on it, before I make decisions, or before I act in the best interests of other people. I tailor my communication to be appropriate and respectful to my audience. How do you do that? So that might be informal, formal briefings. And I take into consideration how others want to be treated when interacting with them. So just considering your leadership style, your communication style, your management style, whether you speak to people in private, whether you speak to people at different forums, how you adapt your style as a leader, as a manager, as a supervisor. I treat people respectfully regardless of the circumstances. Well, that's a given, and you should do, and it's there to remind you. And I share credit with everyone involved in delivering services. Well, that's a kind of play on leadership, is that you take the blame but you share the credit. And again, they're just pointers for you under the concept of public service. Now, the public service one is really broad ranging, so as a value it's at the heart of policing. It describes what policing does, but just include it, work with it, and just try and use some of those behaviours to help you understand how you deliver that specifically, because you're going to be asked specifically what you did, not what we did. And it's one of those things on a promotion process, because we all know, you and I know, that you achieve things together, generally as a team, together, collaboratively. But on a promotion process, they're assessing what you did, not what we did. So don't use we too often in your verbal responses or written applications, because it's a bit like diluting a glass of orange cordial. The more water you put on it, the more times you use we, the more you dilute the example about what you did. And the board sit there thinking, did you do this, or did a load of other people do this, because we're assessing you at the moment. So again, just stepping back, just rewinding from that, print off the guidance from the College of Policing, use it to help your thinking, to support your thinking. Have a look at some of these videos, and if you'd like me to cover other things, I'll do that. But when you talk about this particular value, public service, again, people say, well, how do I actually do it? I understand it's, but how do I actually include it in some of my responses? So again, on the free frameworks booklet that you can download, the workbook, to start collating your evidence and start looking about where you're actually talking about or including these values. Public service, there's a little trigger sentence there. I understand that we are here to, and as a newly promoted sergeant, inspector, duty inspector, I will ensure that. So you're just starting to connect the values, if you like, or this value, through your conversation into your examples. So there's no secret to it. It's literally about reflection, introspection, working with this, and raising your awareness and your ability to talk confidently about these issues as part of a broader conversation. And essentially that's what a promotion board, a promotion interview is. It is a conversation. It is an interview. And it's a conversation that you want. It's one that you volunteered for, you've worked hard for, and it's one that you should enter based upon a massive depth and breadth of preparation. to help you and get you match fit for that opportunity. And it's generally the people that do that work and this work around the values that tend to prevail in the processes. So I'll be back with another promotion themed video shortly, and until then, take care, and I look forward to speaking to you again.